Hello, backgammon fans. This is Mark from the Portland Metro Backgammon Club. I hope you enjoy this match as much as I did. This is a match that I played against Tim back at the end of August. It was part of our normal Portland Backgammon Club series of tournaments, and it was a 5 point match. And it just turned out to be like a really, really fun match. And so I thought it'd be a good one to get up here. And there were a number of places where I did things that were like I learned later that I shouldn't have. So that's makes for a good educational opportunity too. So we're off to a relatively normal start. This is where I make my first blunder of the match. I should have hit Tim on that 10 point there instead of making my bar point, but I wasn't even thinking about the hit. It's just like the constructiveness of that move. So Tim entered with the 6-4 and quickly is out of trouble. I rolled a 4-2 and obviously just go ahead and make my 4 point. The idea that I'm thinking I'm going to try to prime him here, I guess. 5-3 gets him a point on his board as well. 4-3 is a great roll. It lets me go ahead and anchor up so I'm protected against him being able to prime me or blitz me. Really solid position I'm in now. So 4-2 is a little bit of a disappointing roll. So Tim looks for something constructive to do with it. Not sure this is the right move, but get some stepped forward. So and now double sixes is just a killer roll, lets me bring those checkers all the way around. And now like I am in such a solid position that there's like basically nothing he can do. Rolls a 3-2, plays it, but there's really not much point because I'm going to double them out here right away. Now this takes me a little while to think about the double. It actually is a take, but Tim went ahead and dropped it, so that was that first game. So that one wasn't all that interesting, but hang on. The action does get more exciting as we progress through the match. So opening roll 5-1, so it come down and split. Tim replies with a 3-1, which is great. Lets him make his 5 point. I return with a 6-5, which is even better, lets me anchor up on his bar point. So now once again I'm in really good position. It's not like a 60% kind of a position, but in really solid shape. So 5-4 lets me come down and hit. Tim immediately replies with 4-1, so gets me knocked back onto the bar. But then double ones lets me come in and make the 5 point and then try to find the most useful third ace. So stepping up with the back checker is not great. I eventually just move it from 6-5 with the third one, and that is in fact about the best you can do. Tim enters with a 4-1 and has to think about where he wants to do it. So eventually settles on stepping towards the front of my prime, which is correct. 2-1 is a great roll. I go ahead and hit both checkers, which is a little bit of an overplay. It's right to hit him on the 4 point, but then that's kind of really didn't keep him out for long. Obviously, he came in and hit me right away. So double twos is again a good roll. So I'm in. Then I have to figure out what to do with the rest of the twos. So bringing one to the 6 point is useful. Bringing one down's not necessarily wrong, but it's not the best. This was a small error that I made on this move, but not a big deal. 5-1 lets him hit me on the inside if he wants to get into a hitting contest, which, it's Tim. He usually likes to get into a hitting contest, so probably he'll end up making that move. But down with the 5, and then you could either step forward with the ace, or you can hit with the ace. Um, so he hits. Small mistake, not a big deal again. 2-1 lets me come in, and then the question is what to do next. So no real benefit of stepping from 6 to 5. There's no real benefit from stepping from 11 to 10. There's some risk from stepping from 8 to 7. So, if you come in with the ace instead, then you don't have a really good 2. So it's a little bit of a tricky play. Obviously, something I'm spending a little bit of time thinking about. Either I'm spending some time thinking about it, or somebody came over and asked a random question about the tournament and interrupted me. But I think I'm just spending time thinking about it. Eventually, just step up to the 22, which is the best you can do. So 6-1, not a great roll. You can't cover that blot, but not a terrible roll either, because you can use the ace to hit. And then you just have to find a good 6. So coming out with the 6 is a logical choice. So 3-2 is a beautiful roll, lets me hit him back and then also anchor up. So it's it doesn't take me too long to find the anchoring up. So double 4s is an excellent return shot. Comes in, it hits. What does it not do? So got to find 2 more, and so it's either down or in. I pointed at in just to try to throw him off, but that's not the right move, since that would leave a blot on the outside. He's already pretty spread out over there on the outside, so this is a good move. Keeps him solid on his side of the board. A bunch of blots on my side of the board, but then again, I'm on the bar, so not that easy to capitalize on it. So I need a pretty good roll here. And double 1s is a pretty good roll. So and is great. The shift is okay, but it's actually not the right idea. Like the right idea here would have been to actually just step up with both of those 2 that were anchored on his 3-point and be in a better position where I had daylight. But oh well, not my biggest mistake from the match by a long shot. So 3-2 lets him come in, and so then the question is where to come in. So he anchors up and comes down. He could have used the 2 to hit, come in with the 3 and hit with the 2, which would have been a stronger play, but he's being a little bit conservative there. So here I hit first and then remake the anchor, so effectively I'm just moving from the 21 point to the 14 point and hitting. Double 2s is a great roll. Comes back in and can make the 4-point or hit me or any number of other things. So hitting me is right. So he's still kind of contemplating that. Putting me on the bar is got to be strong. And then the question is, what do you do with the the 4th 2? So can't move the back checkers, don't really want to slot, so just in is the only option that's available. So double 1s again, so I'm good at making that roll. And now this one's a little tricky in that, like, okay, do I just anchor on the 22 point? Yes, sure, I should. Then what's the 4th one? So that's 3, and now it's either slot the bar or slot the 5-point, or hey, let's diversify in the outfield. Not the strongest idea, but it's again not a big error. It's about a .038. So Tim replies with a 4-1, and his biggest problem is those back checkers, so he goes ahead and pulls 1 out, making a bid for some flexibility and some freedom, since on his side of the board he's spread pretty thin except for those spares on his 6 point. So I roll a 6-1, which is just a super good roll. So I'm able to point on him and make that bar point. So I'm moving into a pretty solid position again. 5-2. You can come in with the 2 or with the 5. Coming in with the 5 makes the most sense, because then at least that checker is not as trapped anymore, and then you just have to figure out, are you slotting with the 2? You ought to be slotting with the 2, but instead he steps up with that back checker. So 2-1 lets me point on him on the 5 point. Is kind of move that I never used to make as a beginner, or even like a year ago, but I've started getting more comfortable with it as an upgrade on the point that you're holding. Leaves a blot somewhere, but oh well. A6 is pretty good. Let's move that back checker out. I'm not really hoping to accomplish much with his home board anymore, and starting to gain a little bit of risk. 4-1 lets him upgrade his anchor, and now 6-1 for me lets me anchor up in the outfield, and then the 1 just 6-5. Why not? So 6-2 for Tim. Not necessarily the easiest thing to play. This would be a good time to pull one of his back checkers out, but he's concerned about the risk there because he can't move the 1 off the 2 point. So, out is great. Then what do you do with the other 2? Well, you have to just keep going, which, is still only a single shot. But then he's looking at just coming in with both of the numbers instead, which is not as strong as putting a checker behind me. It's continuing to add to that stack on his 6 point where he's already got too many checkers. So it's not the best roll, but this is safe for the moment, but it kind of just continues to exacerbate the problems that he currently has with the position. Double 1s for what is this, like the 12th time now? I've rolled so many double 1s this game, so this time I do step up with them. And then the question is, do I step up off of his bar point, or step up to my bar point, or what with the last 2? So stepping up with the ones off his bar point is the best option here, and I luckily found it. 4-2 is pretty good. Lets him solidify his board so he can cover the 2 point and slot the 3. And that's a 2-1 for me, which is not the best roll. So I make a blunder again here. I ought to just run, but instead I hit him loose, which is only a 10% blunder. So that's not so bad. He re-enters immediately with a 1-4. I get a 1-5, which I have to use the ace to hit with, and then the 5 is less comfortable, so just go ahead and run off there. That's the right move. Lucky for me, Tim misses. He rolls double 2s, so he enters, which is not great for me, but then he can't hit that blot in his outfield. So he makes his board, and then just steps the other 2 forward. So now I'm in pretty good shape. I've got outfield control. I've got an advanced anchor. 6-4 is another blunder move for me. Is that I decide that it's time to just get out of there, but in fact, the anchor is still doing me a lot of good. So giving it up now is a little too early. So 5-2 lets him, either escape or slot or both. So he's looking at the escaping with the 5, which is definitely right. And then the 2, he can come in or he can slot the point. So at this point he really wants to make his board because his best chance of winning is to hit me and get into a containment situation, and like having that gap there on his 4 point would not help him with containing me after the hit. So slotting is the correct move. So well spotted there. 5-4 lets me do what exactly? Well, I guess it lets me run that blot all the way to the 6 point. So that's a pretty good position for me to be in. Now Tim's on roll. He's got a 4-1. So 4 and 1 aren't great numbers, and that they don't let him cover the blot that he's put out there. But 4's not bad, and that, yeah, he can go ahead and move the anchor up to the bar point. So he's like putting those checkers where they have contact with my outfield. And so I used the 5 to cover and then the 6 to come in. Tim rolls a 5-2, which again doesn't actually cover the blot unless you do something a little wacky, which Tim is not afraid of wacky, so he goes ahead and covers that blot, but generates a new one on the ace point. But now he's still got a 4 point board, and no real harm done, I suppose. So now I'm spending some time thinking about it, but I do go ahead and roll on. I got a 5-3, which lets me point on him. So now I'm moved from like good to probably too good. So I probably should not be doubling anytime soon here. 6-1 is a little bit awkward, but bring a number in and step up. It's not necessarily my best move. The 12-5 would have been better. But Tim cooperatively dances again. 6-1 lets me bring a second checker in, and then the split is not really that helpful. As he could come in and cover his blot, and then like having the blots in the outfield suddenly becomes a liability for him to like hit a fly shot or something. So 6-2 is another blunder. Like it would be a perfect number to go ahead and cover that blot on the ace point, contain his back checker, and then the loose hit is too loose, because if he rolls a 2, then I'm in a lot of trouble. But he rolled double 3s, so lucky me. 5-3 lets me cover the blot, and now we are in great shape. Tim can't move. Got a complete closeout. All I have to do is get them down and around and in and into a structure where I don't, leave a blot on the bear off. So, wish me luck. Down to 1 on the outside. 6-4 lets me bring 1 in and bring 1 off. So then I'm in great shape. Nothing can go wrong. 6-4, bring 1 off and 1 forward. And Tim rolls a 6 right away. Lucky Tim. So then, so I still actually have pretty good gammon chances here. And so I ought to just roll on. But believe at this point that I throw the cube at him in another moment. So what I'm looking at is like, okay, is there any point of rolling on? I've got 13 checkers to go, so like 7 rolls. There's almost no way that he's not coming all the way around with those back checkers, getting them all in. It's going to kind of be just a what I'm thinking is, oh, this is just a waste of time for me to keep rolling this out. Like, my gammon chances can't be that good. So let's just throw the cube and get it over with. In fact, my gammon chances were way better than I thought they were. Almost 40% gammons here, which shocks the heck out of me. But, small numbers would let Tim suffer quite a bit, and so I should have kept rolling. But Tim, can't say I never gave you anything. That was a one gift of a cube. So now the score is 2-0. A little bit of a glitch there. There was a long pause between the end of that game and the start of the next one, and my video editing skills are poor. So sorry about that. But we're off to a solid start. Tim down and split. I make the 3 point, double fives. He runs one around, and then, um, what to do. So, like, maybe the standard thing to do is to just make the 3 point, 13 to 3 with two checkers. So he makes the 3 point, but then runs one out instead, which is kind of a mistake. So 6-4, he goes ahead and picks up the checker for me because he sees that coming. Enters with a 5-1. So he decides to enter on the ace and then remake the 8 point, which is right. So 4-5 lets me make my 4 point, so that, or I'm sorry, 9 point. So that's a pretty good roll for me, very constructive. Double twos is just sort of the standard play, two down, unstacks everything. It's really solid. 6-3 is, it would normally be just sort of a running play, but it's running out into a double shot. But it's still right to just run out into the double shot, take your chances. He might miss, and in fact he does. So he rolls a 4-5, and goes ahead and comes out with that. Well, now he's looking at, stepping up and going in. Oh, that's even better, isn't it? Right? Is that blot on the 8 point? Not a risk. Nothing's going to attack it. Okay, so now I've got a 6-4 to play. And so the obvious thing is with the 6 is to just come down, and then the question is, what do you do with the 4? Do you hit loose? No, you just bring another one down. So that one's straightforward enough. 6-1 is a great roll. Lets him make his bar point or his 5 point. The 5 point's more important, so he goes ahead and does that right away. I get a 2-1, which is, lets me do a pick and pass, so that's can't be too bad. 5-3, so he's in right away. Surprising on my 2 point board, right? But he's a lucky guy. So in with the 5 and in with the 3, so that makes sense. 5-1 doesn't let me make a new point, but it lets me put a lot more weight on that 8 point. So now I've got a lot of checkers in the zone, ready to do something constructive with the right roll. 3-1 is lets him either make his 2 point or make it anchor on the 20 point. And so those are really the top two choices there. It's pretty close either way. Make a 5 point board, given that I've got a 2 point board, is just kind of incredible. But then again, the anchor lets you, just takes away all of your risk on those back checkers, right? It's the race is not great for him, but it's a lot safer to be anchored up than not. So it's a small mistake to anchor instead of making the board point, but not a big deal. 6-2. Yep, it's just in and in, but it's a minor misplay, but not a big deal. 5-1 starts to get into kind of like an odd play. So I'm not sure why he's shuffling checkers around in his home board when he's got that checker on the 11 point that he could have just brought in with the 5. I'm just dumping checkers behind, trying to build my board at this point. So apparently he was saving the that checker for a 6 to play. Maybe. Not sure what he's going to do with this. So he covered the ace point and then put it back. Covering the ace point has got to be good, right? If you've got a blot on the ace point, you might as well cover it. You could bring 2 down off the 13 point, but then that means you don't have a landing spot, or as accessible of a landing spot for the checkers that are on the anchor on my 5 point. So So bringing the 11 to 5 makes a lot of sense. And so ultimately that is what he does. And oh, look, double sixes. That should pretty much be game over, right? The race was not great for him before. It's terrible now. He rolls a 5-4, which is just two down. Um, not doing a full count, but just sort of like saying, here's a cube. And this time it's definitely a good double and a good pass. So I promise you some of these games get a little more complicated and a little more interesting. And I think starting on this one. So we've got 5-4 to start. So Tim brings two down because he's kind of in attack mode, which makes a lot of sense. He's down, so he wants to play the more gammonish kind of a play. 6-4, I ought to just run because I'm leading, and like, what do I want to do? I just want to have a simple game and not have, anything lost. But instead, I make my 2 point because I don't know why. I guess I'm thinking maybe I can, win 2 points by gammoning him. So 6-5 is not a great roll. Two down's okay. He doubles. It's a take. I snap it up. 6-3 is a really good roll for him. The six hits. The three stepping up is okay. Slotting the 5 point would have actually been stronger. 2-6 lets me hit back. So now we're getting into a slugfest. 1-5. So he is able to just go ahead and anchor up. A6. So here I don't even hesitate. I just go ahead and take the hit outside, which is right. 6-2. He manages to dance on a 2 point board. So I'm feeling really solid here. 6-1. I make the bar point, bring the six down and around. A6 lets him come in. And then the six is a little awkward. So what do? He brings it down to the bar, which is correct. So then 6-4 lets me run one out, or it lets me make the 4 point at the expense of leaving a blot immediately available. Those two back checkers are my biggest liability, so I do go ahead and run one out, and that is the right move by kind of a long shot. So it's looking good for me comparatively. Tim needs a good roll. Double twos qualifies as a good roll. So it hits. That's good part one. It makes another point on his home board. That's good part two. And it lets him step up with that back checker, which is good part three. So he does everything that he could hope for. And then I cooperatively dance for him. So now Tim is in the driver's seat. If he hadn't already thrown the cube, he definitely would be now. So he rolls a 6-3, which is lets him make the 5 point. My chances are diminishing by the roll. Get an ace-4, so N is great. That keeps me alive. That helps a lot. And then the 4, I just stack it up because I don't really care. I'm kind of in gammon save mode a little bit now. Ace-4 is not the best roll, but it does let him kind of roll things forward. So it would also let him escape a back checker, which would have probably been a better idea, but this is what he did. So 2-1, I hit because I'm a maniac, I guess. I don't know. The hit is correct. The question is, after you hit, what else do you do? So do you split the back checkers? Do you just step that forward to the 3 point? I'm not sure what stepping forward to the 3 point accomplishes. I'm not sure I want to hit. I am very confused by this roll. I can step forward both of the back checkers to make it more of a threat, also make it more of an ability for him to like just point on me. And so I go with the hit and split. But, again, the split is not great. He's got a ton of checkers back there. He could hit me again. This time his double twos are a really bad roll. And now I'm feeling pretty good. 3-2 lets me cover. 3 is harder to play. Um, so you could do what? You could not cover and instead use the 2 to step up and then the 3 down. Or you could, I don't know what. Yeah, you could do some other things, but this is what I did. It's not the best move, but it still made a certain amount of sense, I suppose. It wasn't the worst mistake I've made this game. 4-1 it lets them come in, and then the 4 is the struggle. So do you hit or do you just stack up on the or do you slot? You could slot the 3-point or you could hit on the 2-point. Those are really, I guess, the two choices. Or you can just step up to the anchor. Um, Now, it turns out that like everything other than hitting me on the 2-point is a blunder. So uh, it's going to take Tim a little while to sort of sort through this. And this is where we get into like the ritual of him waving his hands around and muttering and so forth. Uh, Seems to be a standard thing that happens when we play. So, it's but he finds the hit. Great move. And I'm in a lot of trouble again. 4-6. I dance. Uh, Tim's back up to like 75% wins and like 40% gammons at this point, something like that. So 2-1 lets him cover that blot and step in. So he's diversifying a little bit. 3-1 is not the strongest. He'd love to be able to like cover that point, but he can play it safely. Double 4s dances again, and yeah, my life is fading fast. So 6-5, he can hit with the 5, and then out. He could also have just made the ace point, and making the ace point actually would have been a little bit better, but and that it made a 5-point board at that point. But he's not in any trouble at this point. He's 3-1. Wow, hit that last checker out there, or do you want to make your 3-point? Like making the 3-point so strong, right? How can you not? How can you pass that up? You're going to get that last checker next time. So then I get ace 6, and so I'm still on the bar. Double 5s, a little bit awkward. Um, so now he can't leave those checkers out there to pick up the one on the midpoint. He's got to bring a couple in at least. Um, so that's not the best possible play, but it's a still pretty decent. He's in solid position. 3-2, a dance again. 4-2 lets him step up, which is super important. And then the 2, you kind of, yeah, really don't have a choice but to step forward with that one. You're not going to stack it up on the 2-point. So, um, and now, oh, beautiful roll, ace 2. So I can come in with the ace, and now what to do with the 2. So I ought to come down, but instead I attack. So coming down feels wrong in that, it gives him a good 6 that, he can hit me with the 6. This one lets him, hit me with the 5. And, so, oh well. Ace 2, he comes in and steps up, which is got to be right. Then now I'm not sure why he's still looking at this one. Like, I guess you could come around with the 2 instead, but then that checker on the ace point is in a lot of risk of being trapped. So now 5-4 is a great roll. It lets me point on him on the 3-point. So, yeah, I still got a blot on my home board, but, what's the odds of him rolling a 5? Oh, yeah. Oh, well, what if it's a 5-3, so it's a double shot? That's pretty solid. So now I'm definitely dead. Double 2s, I dance. Hopefully it just doesn't pick up that last checker. Oh, wait, there it goes. Okay, so now I've got 3 on the bar, 3 on the ace point. The odds of me coming back to win this are basically very low at this point. And the gammon chances for Tim are kind of through the roof. So, I still have to roll. Somebody must be stopping by to ask a question or report something. Okay, now I roll 6-5 and I dance. 6-4 lets him bring both checkers in. This question of how to bring them both in. So, he's looking at there's really only 2 choices, and one that he plays is the one that's not a blunder. So, but, can't fault him for stopping to look at it for a little while. Now I need double aces just to get off the bar. Okay, so now I got 1 ace, so that's not so bad. Now I only have 2 on the bar. That's got to be an improvement, right? So, and now that Tim is taking his time, possibly telling me a story about something that happened once in his life, possibly complaining about his wrist, possibly just thinking about all the good numbers he could possibly roll, including this one was okay. 4-3. You could take 2 off, but that would be a little bit risky. It's better to kind of get to where you have an even number on the outside. So so he took that one off of the 6 point. So he decides to play that to the 2 and then play the 3 off, which is slightly less good than the other option he could have done. 6-4 is great, lets him get 1 off. Now he's got an odd number on the outside. Oh, hey, there's my double aces. I've been waiting for those. So, okay, so I'm off the bar. Only got, what is that, 6 checkers on his ace point? Oh my gosh. I still managed to maintain a 5-point board. 4-3. Oh, here we go. A little bit of trouble. He, is going to have to leave a blot pretty much here. So it's the question is, what did he play already? I think he played the 5-2, and now he's got to play the 4 off, unless he wants to put it back. No, he played the 4 off, and now he's just reconciling himself to the 5-2. Okay, so I miss 5-3. Once again, leaves a blot. All I have to do is roll a 2, and I'm suddenly okay. Oh, nope, I missed. So 6-3, just get that moving. He needs to cover that. 4-2, can't cover. So he can either leave 1 blot or 2. And he goes with 1. So now once again, all I have to do is roll a 2, and suddenly my chances, oh, nope, I missed again. Okay, so 5-1, that's just a 1 off. So now I've got to get off of that ace point so that he can roll a 1 so that I can potentially hit him with an ace. He puts a stack of all of the ones that he can lift off at once. Okay, so 6-1, he only gets 1 off. That's not bad for me. 6-1, so now I get that last checker out. And so if he rolls an ace, then I suddenly have a chance again. Oh, he rolled an ace. How cooperative, right away. So all I have to do now is roll an ace as well. And I overshot. Okay, so I'm out. So now my big goal right now is the backgammon save. He rolls double 4s, so yeah, I'm going to get it off in my next roll. So, just concede that I'm going to lose the gammon here. But at least it's a gammon, not a backgammon. So suddenly I've gone from being, just in the driver's seat, winning this game, game after game after game, 3-0 to being down 4-3, and we're in the Crawford game. So that was, as you might have experienced yourself, a little bit of a blow. So, but that's backgammon for you. So now we go into the Crawford game, and this is the one, as I recall it, where things start to get really interesting. So hopefully we start rolling here in a moment. Once again, there's at this point, there were a good number of people that were starting to like come around and watch us play. That last game was so brutal that it was entertaining for everybody. 6-2 to start, so he comes splits and down, which is sort of standard. 5-1. I go ahead and hit both, which is another overplay. Like I just hit the bar, 13-7. Why go to the ace point, especially this early in the game? It's like I was doing it because I wanted to do something gammonish, but it's the first roll. I'm not gonna accomplish that much here. So 5-2, again, I'm making the very gammonish play. Okay, he enters with a 5-1, which means that he misses me. I help him out with that 5, and then he's got a choice for the 6. I'm sorry, for the 2. So 1, sorry, yes. So he steps forward with the 1, which, sure, why not? I mean, he could have moved the 11 instead, but I don't think that was a big deal. 5-2, it doesn't let me hit, but it does let me make the 2 points, so that's at least constructive. The 6-1 lets him make the 5 point, so which is even better because that's a point in front of me. 3-1, well, I'm obviously in a hitting mood, so I go ahead and hit. And 6-1, he dances. Oh my God, my strategy is playing off. All right, now I need a good number. Oh, that does not help that much. Okay, 5 down, and then, 4 in, 5 in, 5 in, 4 down, so that way I'm putting him on the bar again. That is the gammon play, even though I only have at that point, not enough checkers in the zone for it to be worth doing that. So this time, come in with 1, hit with 1, and then step up with 2. So it's not the best move, but it wasn't too bad. Now this is a 4-6, so in with the 4, hit with the 6. Yeah, and now I'm blitzing with, let's see, what is that, 7 checkers, and I've used all of them, so like I am done. That is not adequate. So 4-3 lets me bring an 8th checker in, so that's helpful, especially if he dances. Something 1, 5-1. So what do? Well, if you're blitzing, you blitz. And now I'm up to, what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 checkers. Hey, that's almost enough. 5-6. Okay, he hits me. All right, now I'm back down to 8 checkers, so I'm out of ammunition. 5-2 is nice in that, yeah, I can cover that point. So, and again, I'm out of ammo, so I've really got to get more checkers down and out and around. So I go ahead and bring 1 down. I don't think I was seriously looking at the 6-5. I was just teasing him. Double 3s, dances. 6-4. Once again, am looking to bring more ammo to the party, so that's good. 3-1 dances. So now I'm back up to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 checkers. So that's pretty good. Okay, so now here I made another blunder in that I hit off of the 11 when I should have hit off of the 10. and then you know, so I get hit back immediately. The 6-3 lets me enter and hit once more. 3-1 dances, and double sixes is a great roll. 1, 2, and then 3, 4, so that I have the most amount of ammo in range. Yes, 5-1 hits again. So like I'm not just never going to be able to close them out. It looks like double fours enters, hits, and then also covers. So now I'm up to a 5-point board. My desperation plays are beginning to pay off. He enters with a 4. Needs something big. Double sixes hits, and then out and around. So, again, it's not actually the very best. The hit was important, but now I need luck in order to cover it again, and I get some luck. So I get to cover it, come out with the last checker, and, 2 on the roof. He's very undeveloped. I've got decent gammon chances here, so now my goal is to just get those checkers around and in, and then start bearing off before if I can keep him on the roof while I'm doing my bear off, then like I've got a pretty good chance of gammoning him here and then winning the match. So that is what I'm hoping for at the moment. So double sixes moves a lot of freight, as they say. Double sixes then again leaves a lot. So that was unfortunate. And Tim hits it immediately. So now my gammon chances are gone basically. I'm going to require luck for him to just dance often enough for me to even just like get around again. But he comes in right away. And then what does he do with the 5? So, he can come down or he can come out. Coming out is a little stronger in that it gives him more outfield coverage, but he just goes ahead and comes down with that one. I roll a 6-2, which is a great number, lets me jump out. And now he wishes he had that extra checker aiming at me, but he can hit me off of the midpoint, so it's all right. So this time he hits me and then does, I believe, bring one of those back checkers forward to provide more outfield coverage. So there it is. So again, I'm in trouble. Double threes is fine and it enters. And now I don't really need a board anymore. I'm not going to try to hit him and contain him. I just want to get around and off. So 3-1. The hitting is important. The ace could have been used elsewhere, but that was fine. 4-2 lets me come in, and so that's not so bad. Here the 3-1 lets him hit, but or he could make the bar. He could do a lot of things. Now the hit has got a lot of downside to it. It gives 2 blots in his home board, and that's more than he really wants me to have. So my 4-3, I get to hit him and come out, and so fine. He doesn't stay out for long, but now I'm back in where I want to be at this point, which is I have a shot at getting my checkers, my back checker around and start bearing off again. And if I hit another couple along the way, then like maybe I can even still get some gammons out of all of this. So all right, he rolls a 3-2, which hits, and so then like all right, back to the drawing board. Double aces, so I just go ahead and again, I don't really need much of a board. A 2-point board's as good as a 1-point board, right? Isn't that a rule? Okay, it's not the best move I could have made, but wasn't terrible. Double fours, it wasn't terrible in the sense of I made many worse plays throughout this game. Okay, so now kind of trapped. He's got a full prime in front of me almost. Oh, 3-5 hits and out. So that was a beautiful, lucky roll for me. So now, if I had somehow managed to maintain a 3-point board, that might have helped, but you know, he was going to come in regardless. 6-1. So in with the 6, and then what do you do with the 1? So believe that, here stepping up with that back checker is probably best, but he does not do that. So 4-2, I am able to hit and step forward again. So the hit was important, kind of keep him off balance. He comes in with a 5-1, so he was able to anchor up, which is pretty good. Now there are some numbers where I am trapped in that outfield, and so he has a shot at hitting me again. So that's pretty good. But he was for a moment confused about what he had played, so he's thinking he needed to find a 5 still, and I was reminded him that he used the 5 to come in off the bar. So then 4-1 is one of those numbers I was just saying that lets keeps me blocked, and then 5-4, hits. So and so he hits and comes out, and so now he's got full outfield control. 3-5 dances. 5-3. What do you do here? So so the right idea is probably to just continue to flood the outfield. So you've got still 2 checkers in my home board that could be brought out in case I roll like a 4-5, 4-6, something like that. You want to have an additional checker that can aim at it on the next roll, but instead he just brings one around as an additional builder. So kind of a bit of a blunder there. Come in and step up as much as I can, which is a great place to be. 5-4, he can hit with the 4, and then he has to find a good 5. So coming down is the obvious choice there. Gives him more ammo to cover that up. In his next roll, I dance. 5-3, he covers, and now he's got a full prime in front of me, so I'm in a lot of trouble. So 2-6 is great. The 2 is good. I can play it. 6-3 brings one around. Not much is going to happen here. 5-2, I can't move anything. 6-3 lets him again just sort of like come around and put a little bit more flexibility in his prime, so he can start rolling that forward at some point. Like this double 6s is just like a super easy way of rolling his prime forward. So I feel like that was almost cheating on his part. I don't know. So now I'm on the bar. He's just rolling everything around, and so then this double 5s, he goes ahead and pre-clears the 6-point, which is right because anything else would have ended up leaving a blot, I think. And then I come in immediately with the 6-4. So I swing from being, almost dead to very much alive. If I can get around fairly quickly, obviously I've got a kind of a speed board going there. So 4-1, just bring it around. 3-2, he's caught up to me in the number of checkers off. 6-1 lets me come in and start taking off again. And now I am the favorite. So 2-1 lets me take 2 off. 4-2 lets him take 2 off. So, it's still almost anybody's game. I'm like maybe a 2-1 favorite at this point. 4-2, it's 1 off, and that's why I'm in such better shape than him, is because all of mine are stacked up on the ace and deuce point where I can't possibly miss. 4-2 gets 2 off. That's what he's hoping for. 4-3 lets me take 2 off. So now I'm down to 2 rolls at most. 5-1. So as long as I don't roll a double and then he does roll a double, he can still win this thing. So I don't roll a double. Does he get the double? Do I go down in infamy at this point? Oh, he's shaking hard and long, looking for those double aces or better to come out. Nope, 6-4. So yeah, all right. I win a single game, and we go to post Crawford, and into a DMP. So we are 4-4. This last game determines the outcome of the match. So as exciting as it gets. You can hear my bird in the background getting excited by the prospects of this game. Actually, more excited by the fact that the neighbors just got home. So here we go. I roll an ace. He rolls the 3. That's a good start for Tim. So I roll a 4-3. That lets me step up to the front of his checkers. So that's pretty good. Tim rolls a 4-3, which he could use to hit. And in fact, he ought to use to hit, but I believe that he does not use to hit. He just looks around for something that doesn't get too complicated, I guess. So it's the hitting play would be off of the 8 point, 8-4, and hit me, and then bring one down off of the midpoint as additional ammo, kind of go into a little bit of a blitzing mode. That would give them 9 checkers in the zone. I only have an ace 1 point board, so it's pretty safe to do, but that is not what he does. Instead, he just brings that one down to the ace point. Very safe, but again, doesn't actually accomplish that much for him. Ace 5, so I basically run that one out, which is not bad at all. 6-1 lets him make the bar, which is pretty good. 6-2 lets me make my 8 point or my bar point. I go with the bar point, and that's a small mistake, actually. 6-5, it's a small mistake that pays off, because now he's the 6-5. He's not able to escape his back checkers. So here he ought to be, pointing on me on his ace point, and he does hit me on the ace point, but he could have hit and covered if he had played off of the 6 point as well. So I dance with double 5s. 6-4 lets him cover and then step up, so he's in good shape. Double 5s again. I dance again. Now 5-4 doesn't hit anything, but it does let him bring a back checker around. So you can either step up and out, step up and come down, or just run off of my 5 point all the way around. So it's stepping up and out would have been slightly stronger play, but this is only about a 0.03 error, so that's not so bad. 4-6 is a beautiful roll for me. Lets me anchor up there. I'm able to breathe a lot more easily now. Double 4s, stepping up is good. Getting that checker out of the way is good, and then you can make another point, which can't be too bad. So that's what Tim does. And I roll double 4s, which lets me point on him, which is even better than everything that he just did. So it was, all right, 3-5, he's in right away, and then what? Well, you can either slot the 2 point or bury a checker on the ace. So I'm not sure why he went with bury a checker on the ace, but that's what he did. 4-1, the ace lets me unstack the 6 point, which is pretty good. And then the 4 is a little more awkward. Because if I play 13-9, then that's in direct range. I can hit him loose if I use all of it. But that that checker on the 13 points under at risk anyway, so this is not so terrible. Ace 4 would have hit if I had left it back there, but as is, you know, I moved it to safety. The 4-1, now what does he do with that? So, again, his biggest problem really is the stack on his 6 point. So he could use the 4 to slot the 2 if he's stepping up like that. And so that's what he does. So double threes is a good roll, lets me point on him and make a 4th point. So I've got a pretty good situation going. He dances. 5-3 doesn't let me clear those back checkers, but I can just bring a couple in and try to, you know, make my next point in order here. 5-1 lets him enter and cover, so that's great. 6-2 does not make a point and cover, so it's a little bit of an awkward one. So the thing, he's got a 5-point board, so like hitting feels a little bit dangerous at this point. But my only other two really would be something like 6-4, which is just doesn't accomplish anything. So it's a hard one. So if I come down with the 6, and then what's the, you know, I could step into the bar point with the 2, but then that just gives him, you know, a 6 to hit versus anything else. So I eventually just I just hit, and then he dances. So it turns out that hitting sometimes allows, you know, good things to happen for me. So double 2s lets me cover that point and bring that last checker around. So I'm in great shape. 2-6 enters, but the 6 is blocked. So and now 6-5. I could hit loose, but again, he's got a 5-point board, and at this point, I'm up in the race a little bit, so it doesn't make that much sense to hit loose. Double 5s changes anything I was thinking about being up in the race. All of a sudden, I'm in trouble, but I roll my own double 5s, and so that you know does equal it out again. And you know, I've got a couple off, and he's still bearing in, so I'm in pretty good shape, but still not a lock by any means. 5-2 lets him bring 2 in. 4-1 lets me bring 2 in. Got that big stack on my 3-point that's going to be awkward. I've got that gap on my 2-point that could be awkward. 5-2 lets him bring 1 in and 1 off, so now he's off the gammon, as they say. 6-1 is a good number, 2 off. 5-4, that gets him 2 off. Yeah, his distribution's pretty solid, really. 3-2 is nice because it gets rid of that stack on the 3 that was bugging me. So 2-1 still gets 2 off. Now he's got the gap on the 2 as well, so you know that improves my position relatively speaking. 5-3, I get 2 off. Now got gaps on the 5 and the 2-point. He's got gaps on the 4 and the 2-point. I roll double 2s, which just lets me take 2 off, but now I've got lots of gaps. 3-2 fills in one of his gaps. 5-3, okay, so I can get 1 off and then just stack up to the ace. It's getting harder and harder for him to find a winning chance. He's still not completely dead yet, though. 5-4, so that lets him get 1 off. He needs, basically, there's nothing he can do at this point. Yep, okay, so he concedes. I win the single game. I end up winning the match. So that was it. Hope you enjoyed the match. It was a lot of fun. And hope we see you at one of our tournaments in the near future. Thanks.